Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, good afternoon I should say. Selamat datang and salam sejahtera. I'm very, very happy to meet all of you. But first of all, I want to congratulate you. Congratulate you for making this effort and time to spend the next 1 hour with me, right? What are we here for? We're here to learn about communications, right? Okay, so I've put that on the slide. You can find me at that link if you're on LinkedIn. And that is my email address if you have some questions after my session. Please feel free to email me, yeah? Okay. Next slide, please. All right. I'm going to give you a small exercise, right? Because there's too many of you for me to talk to each of you, but I would like very much to get to know you before you get to know me, right? Can I get volunteers? Just 5 will do. Introduce yourself. You give me your name. Where are you from? What did you study? And what do you hope to learn from my session, right? Okay, can I get some volunteers? Because we are communicating, right? Can I get some volunteers? Anyone want to volunteer or shall I call? I don't know your names, so I can't call names, right? So you have to pick. No volunteers? Young lady, you're right in front of me. Can you start the ball rolling? Maybe we are typical Malaysians, we are shy, right? But I'm sure you all communicate well. Please.
Okay, my name is Azdini binti Abdul Aziz.
Yes.
Okay, I'm from Ampang, Selangor. So I graduate in PhD in material science.
Material science.
Yeah, in Japan.
And what do you hope to learn from this session?
So I hope that there is something that I can improve my communication skills. Yeah, and my for the interview tips for the interview.
Okay, good. Can we give her a hand now? See, can I get someone else now? Maybe a gentleman. I see many gentlemen here. Which one? Who will pick up the courage to speak to us? Introduce yourself to us. Come on. Anyone here? Or shall I pinpoint again? I see a young man in white. I think he's right behind this young lady in black, I think. I can't really see you all from here, but yes, please.
Hello, Miss. Hello, Datuk. I'm Samsudin Han. You can call me Din.
Din.
I'm from Sarawak. But I'm staying in Kuala Lumpur. I'm just finished sports science from University Malaya, and then I hope I can improve my communication skill from your session.
Thank you.
Datuk. Yeah.
Good. Give him a hand. I love to have someone from Sarawak participate with us. Very good. Okay. I see this pretty young lady in polka dot. Let me invite you. That's a very striking dress.
Hello, Datuk. Hi, my name is Natasha, but you can call me Tasha for short. I'm from KL. I studied Masters in Business Marketing and Management from University of Arts here, London.
Wow.
And I'm here to enhance my communication skills and career, mostly for career advancement, yeah.
Good. Thank you. Let's give her a big hand. Oh, looks like many of you are well qualified. Okay, good. I won't torture you, but at least I get a sampling of what it is you hope to achieve from my session today. Okay, let me proceed now. All right? Let me introduce myself to you. Please Next slide, please. This thing is not working. Okay, right, okay. From there, you can see that I was not properly introduced, but I was a diplomat for Malaysia, yeah, and I was in government service, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Wisma Putra, for 36 years, right? And of that 36 years, I was ambassador for Malaysia 3 times. I was the first ambassador of Malaysia to the Ukraine. I was ambassador to Croatia. And finally, I was High Commissioner to Canada before my retirement. But as you can see, from 36 years, I did a lot of work. At home, I served in the ministry in various positions and at different desks, as we call it, where I handled bilateral relations with other countries or the management of the ministry. Yeah? And abroad, I was in Ottawa, Canada. I was there twice. At the beginning of my career, I went there as a second secretary. And I ended up my journey in the foreign ministry as High Commissioner to Canada. And I retired in 2018. Yeah? I was also in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I was there at a very, very critical time in Indonesian history. I was there during the racial riots of 1998, where the president was removed. Yeah, President Suharto. I don't know, maybe many of you are young, you may not know him, but he was a very, very powerful figure in Indonesia. All right. I was also in Kiev, as I mentioned. Now, many of us know Ukraine, right? I'm sure you all recall what happened, a very tragic incident that happened for Malaysia when our own Malaysia Airlines flight was shot over Ukraine, yeah, all those years ago, right? And then I was also in a place called Zagreb in Croatia. It's a very beautiful country, right? Okay, that's a bit about me. Next, please. Next slide. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today, right? We're going to, after the introductions which we had, we're going to talk about what is communication, right? Why communicate in English, right? Why do you need to improve your English? Why? How do you start? And steps to improve your communication in English. I'll share some tips and I will summarize for you, right? And of course, I welcome any questions you may have, right? Okay, let's move on. Okay, what is communication? Right, I'm sorry, I had prepared my slide slightly different. Now it's all coming out, so it's not as interesting, but I hope it will help you, right? So it's an act of giving, receiving, and sharing information, right? And there are 5 types of communication. Basically, there are 5 types of communication. Verbal, which is what we are doing now. Some of your friends here had communicated verbally with me and us. There's non-verbal. What do you mean by non-verbal? It's our body language. Even when we are not speaking, we can indicate some way, a verbal, a non-verbal indication, and that is a form of communication as well, right? We are, for instance, if we are angry, it shows on our face. We might not say anything, but people will immediately know that we are angry. If we are feeling very happy, we probably smile without saying anything. If you smile, people will immediately know that you're happy, right? Okay, and then of course there is written communication. As we all know, we write letters, we write emails, and that is a form of communication. Listening, yeah? What you're doing now is listening to me, right? And through listening, I am communicating information to you, right? And of course, there is visuals. You look at the slides that I'm presenting, and that's a form of communication because you are taking in what I'm writing and what I'm talking about, right? So what's the aim of communication? To inform, right? Like what I'm doing now is to inform you about the subject of communications in English. To request, sometimes, yeah, we need to convey something, to request something, we communicate, right? We want to persuade someone, let's say, yeah, as ambassador, I needed to get Canada to participate in this expo, for instance. So what I do is I need to meet up with the right people and persuade them, right, to join us. Okay? And lastly, of course, communication is a way of interacting. We're interacting with each other. We're engaging with each other. Yeah? Okay, let's move on now. Right. So why communicate in English? Why communicate in English? Because it's a widely spoken language, yeah, and it is used globally. Yeah, statistics show that 1.38 billion people speak English, right? And for most countries where English is not the main language, it's a second official language. Yeah, India, for instance, English is their second official language, as opposed to Singapore, where English is their official language, right? And of course, lots of literature, research works, movies, yeah, they're all in English, right? They're all, many, yeah, sure. I know that Malaysians now are into Korean dramas, right? But there are many more works, movies and shows in English, right? And it's the fastest growing foreign language in the developing world, right? China, for instance, they send every year about 300,000 students to Canada. And basically what they're trying to do is to study English, to speak English. The courses are all in English. So that's how they pick up the language. That's how important English is in communication, right? Then we have every country in the world has at least one English newspaper. Even in countries as, I would say, as remote as in the Pacific Islands, right? In Kiribati, for instance, yeah, they would have an English newspaper. When I was in Ukraine, because the language is so difficult, because they are their language, their official language, of course, is Ukrainian, and their second language is Russian, I had to rely a lot on the English newspaper. And they had one where a lot of us diplomats and foreigners would read. So that is our way of getting information, of understanding developments in Ukraine, right? Then we have, it is for sure a language and medium of communication in business, right? And it is used by almost every profession in the world. Whether you're a teacher, you're a diplomat, you're a doctor, an architect, right? English is required. English is a necessity for you to get ahead, right? I chose this quote by Nelson Mandela. I'm sure many of you know who Nelson Mandela is. He was a long-time fighter for freedom in South Africa. And subsequently, after his release from jail, he was jailed for many years. After his release from jail, he actually became president of South Africa. Okay, and if you see that, he says, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. I think that's important, you know. So what I would do when I am in a foreign country, like the Ukraine, for instance, or in Croatia, right? How do we win people over? in communicating. You use, for the main part, I would use English, right? But you learn a few words in their own language. And immediately, like when I open a speech, for instance, I would greet them in their language, right? Immediately, they would appreciate. They would open their hearts to you, right? Same for you. Our language is bahasa, right? Bahasa Melayu, or we talk Chinese, or we talk Indian, right? But, you know, when you meet a foreigner, yeah, immediately and you greet him or her in English, if he's an Englishman, right, and he's going to your kampong, somewhere in Sarawak, for instance, and you greet him in English and you speak to him in English, immediately there will be that connection because you are communicating to him in his language. So it goes to his heart, right? Okay, next. So I want you to watch this video. Have a good laugh, but take some things away from it, okay? Enjoy. All right.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you all.
We are also pleased to be meeting you.
I am Brown.
Oh no. You are committing a mistake.
A mistake?
Yes, please. You are not brown. We are brown. You are white.
My name is Brown. I am your teacher.
Ah, you professori!
Yes.
I must be your student.
Quiet, please.
Silencio!
Thank you. Right, would you all like to sit down? Sit down.
Ah, so.
Right, I'll just take a note of all your names, nationalities, and occupations. Right?
Por favor, señor.
Yes?
Es la primera vez que vengo. ¿Es esta la clase para aprender inglés?
Well, I haven't the faintest idea what you're saying, but I'm sure you're not trying to find the needlework class.
Por favor,
It doesn't matter. Have a seat.
por favor.
Sit down.
Ah, sí.
No, not there.
Por favor.
There.
Ah, sí.
Right, I'll just go around the class and take your names. Yes? Ah, yes. What is your name?
Maximilian Andrea Archimedes Papandreou.
Then I'll just put you down as Max. I take it you're Greek?
He is right, from Athens.
Good. And what is your job?
I walk with sheeps.
You walk with sheep. You're a shepherd? You work on a farm?
No, not far.
But you just said you work with sheep.
No. Sheeps. Big sheeps. Yes, sheeps. Tonkers.
Tankers.
Right. I walk in office.
Good. Thank you. And your name?
Anna Schmidt, German au pair.
Usual German efficiency?
Germans are always efficient.
Not so. Japanese, much more efficient.
Nine, Germans are the best.
Japanese make a much better television and cameras.
Now, please, let us have no racialism. In this class, all are equal. Your name?
Giovanni Cupello, Italian.
And where do you work?
I work in Ristorante dei Popoli.
A waiter.
No, not a waiter, a cucita. Sì, a cucita ravioli, a cucita spaghetti, a cucita lasagna, a cucita everything.
A chef.
Okay.
And your name?
Andy?
What is your name?
Kya kaha?
Me, Jeremy Brown. You?
Patanjali. जी क्या कह रहे हो?
Max, Anna Schmidt, Giovanni Capello, you.
ओहो, आप नाम पूछ रहे हो? अच्छा मैं लिख देती हूँ। लिखती हूँ, 1 मिनट फिक्र ना करो जी, लिखना पढ़ना आता है मुझे। मैं अभी लिख के देता हूँ। हाँ जी? अच्छा।
Yes, yes, write your name down. Good, good. It's no good. I need your name in English.
No उर्दू?
No Urdu.
हाय, तो मैं यहाँ काहे के लिए आई? अंग्रेजी आती होती तो मैं सीखने आती अंग्रेजी को। आपको क्या चाहिए? अब मुझे पता नहीं कहाँ से लाऊं, मैं पता नहीं क्या चाहिए आपको। देखो जी, सही लिखा हुआ होगा अंग्रेजी तो पता नहीं, देखूं। ये तो नहीं कहीं कागज जो आपको चाहिए?
Ah, certificate of registration, Jamila Ranja, housewife. Thank you. Good. And your name?
I am Ali Nadim from Lahore. I am working at the moment, not anywhere at all.
You're unemployed?
Yes, please. Only 1 day a week I'm working.
What do you do then?
I'm going to the unemployment exchange for to be collecting my money. Who blimey? I get more money for not being working than when I'm working.
Yes, but before you discovered this secret of eternal wealth, what did you do?
Blimey, I worked at the Taj Mahal.
In Delhi?
Oh no, Patni. Taj Mahal Tandoori restaurant. Jolly good chapati and papadam.
1,000 apologies for my lateness.
Okay, so just a snippet of that video, and I want you to think. You see for a start, there are cross-cultural differences, right? What the different students understand is different from what Mr. Brown understands. For instance, his name is Brown, right? And this Ali Nadim said, oh no, you're not brown, you're white, we are brown, right? Whereas in English language, there can be two interpretations, right? Brown is the color brown, as you can see in that handbag, right? So, and then the other thing is, of course, English language, English words have different meanings, right? And it is easy to misunderstand words, right? Simply because of pronunciation sometimes, or the understanding of the word, right? And learning English is not easy. As you can see, they all are struggling. They were there to learn English. But because they have this baggage, some of them are unemployed. Some of them do not know English at all, as you can see from the lady, Jabila, who insisted on talking her own language, right? So it's going to be tough for them to learn English, right? And ultimately, of course, you have to keep it simple. When he asks a question, you answer simply. Look at this, Ali Nadim saying, I'm working at the moment, not anywhere at all. What was he trying to say? He could have used one word, right? He could have used the word, I am unemployed. But look at how he put the sentence to Mr. Brown, right? I'm working at the moment, not anywhere at all, right? So when you communicate, if you have a person who is very good in English, they will immediately understand. But if you communicate with others who are quite weak in the language, it'll be like a miscommunication because you won't understand each other, right? Okay. So why do you need to improve your English? So you can speak clearly, yeah? So you can be understood, right? Mr. Brown had to understand what they were trying to say, right? So you can be taken seriously, right? I think some of you were laughing along with me, right? And you don't take them seriously because they were not talking proper English, right? And most importantly for all of you out here, employers demand and value good English speakers, right? And therefore, to conclude, we need to speak clearly, we need to be understood, we need to be taken seriously, and there is a high market demand for English speakers, right? So how do you start? You have to read, of course. Yeah, you read newspapers, magazines, books, and of course, I know that with your generation, unlike my older generation, where we had to read books, physical books, hard copies of books, everything is online now, right? You want to know any subject in the world, you just need to go to Mr. Google, right? Type in your computers, and there you are. You have information. But of course, we all need to be careful because not all information and all sources are correct. Okay? So I'll go more into that later, right? Of course, we have to listen and watch. We watch news, yeah? We watch movies. Yeah, I put BBC News there because, of course, it's a British channel and they speak proper English. So if you want to learn good English, there is a good source of news that you could be watching and listening to, right? Of course, and then the other way is to overcome your fear of talking English is to speak. Sometimes you speak in front of a mirror alone because you don't want others to hear you. Or, yeah, and because we have family, we have friends, and people who are more generous to us, that's how we can practice. We can speak simple sentences to our family members, yeah? And of course, to improve in anything we do, we have to practice, and practice. Yeah? Okay. So how do you improve? You read, you start simple, right? Okay, I remember when my kids were growing up, I have one of my sons here, by the way, Ilya. There's a young man over there. Darling, stand up, Ilya. That's Ilya, my son. He's a very good English speaker, but he had the benefit of attending international schools because of my profession, right? My husband, of course, is here with us as well, Mr. Shah. He's also a very, very good trainer. Yeah. So anyway, we read, we start simple. So when they were kids, I would buy this book called the Ladybird books and teach them to read using the Ladybird books. All right. The other way is we learn a word a day, right? We use dictionary.com, word thing, there's any number of sources that we can learn. And when you read, you come across a difficult word, what do? You list down a word that is new to you. Keep a diary or a notebook handy, yeah? And record the book. And that's how you can learn. Look up in the dictionary. Lots of online dictionaries now. You don't even have to have a hard copy of the Oxford Dictionary or the Cambridge Dictionary. You can just go online. Yeah? As I said there, use a dictionary to learn new words. Okay? Of course, then we listen to local news in English. Yeah, we have Astro Awani, have got a very good English speakers there. I think it's TV2, TV2 also have got English news, right? We listen to English music stations. Yeah, there's one there. I think young people will like this, hits.fm. Yeah, we watch TV shows and movies. We follow someone we admire. Perhaps you like jokes, you listen to Harith Iskandar, right? But there is this young lady, I think it's Lisa Surihani. She's a very good English speaker. So you can follow her and pick up the words. Yeah. Then we read advertisements, we read billboards, we read pamphlets. But again, here I want to caution you, sometimes it's not all good English on the pamphlets or on the billboards. Yeah, we maintain a written diary, as I said earlier. And most importantly, once you are confident, you feel that you can pull it off, speak to a foreigner, right? When you speak to a foreigner, you're forced to use good English. Yeah? Okay. So then I have another video for you. I want you to watch it. All right? Something closer to home for us.
It's one of the most multicultural, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious countries in the world, and I'm thrilled to be back for a third visit.
I'm a Nonya, Chinese, Siamese, and adopted Kalabit.
I'm Chindian and I'm Malaysian.
I'm a Thai Malay Malaysian.
I'm a Malay, Mama, Chinese, and a Malaysian.
We are Kadazan.
We are Eurasians.
My dad is Malay and my mom is Chinese.
I'm Malay and Indian.
I'm a Chinese but culturally Filipino.
Out of the 32 million people living in this nation, only about half of them can call themselves
ethnic Malays.
23%, or 8 million people, are
ethnic Chinese.
7% are
ethnic Indians.
And the rest of them are just
confused.
Malaysia's official religion is Islam, attracting 61% of the population. In fact, ethnic Malays are required to be Muslim by law. The next biggest religion is Buddhism at 20%, then Christianity at 10%, and Hinduism at 6%. This incredible diversity of Malaysia's people is reflected in its cuisine, language, and economy. When looking at its food, Malaysia truly has one of the world's best.
My name is Ahmad, and my favorite thing about KL is the food.
A fusion of indigenous Malay, Chinese, Indonesian, and Indian with lighter touches of Dutch and British, its former rulers for 200 plus years. My favorite three dishes in Malaysia are nasi lemak, laksa, and banana leaf. Let's talk about language. Most people here know at least 3 languages fluently.
We like to pick and choose certain words. Eh, Macha, you want makan here or tapau?
That sentence means do you want to eat here or take out, but it has words from 4 languages: Tamil, English, Malay, and Chinese.
But if you're traveling to Malaysia, you won't have to worry about learning any new languages because almost everyone here speaks fluent English.
Almost as good as the Philippines. I am always very, very impressed. From an economic standpoint, the bustling capital of Kuala Lumpur is one of Asia's fastest growing business hubs, and its skyline is dominated by the tallest twin buildings in the world.
The Petronas Tower.
Do you know how tall they are?
No, I'm not sure.
But once you escape the city life, you'll quickly enter a humble, relaxing, and contrasting lifestyle.
That's why we call overseas. This is why we call Malaysia.
And I am truly in love with this place. I'm Drubinski, and if you like my travel video...
Okay. Did you enjoy that video? Does it make you feel proud to be Malaysian? Right? Did it communicate the right messages? Right? We're talking about communication. Right? And what is good about it is he uses very simple words, isn't it? Yeah? And he speaks very slowly. Yeah. Maybe the Malaysian people who were in the video, they did not speak slowly, but Ms. Drew Brinsky, he spoke slowly, right? It's easy for us to understand, right? The message is clear. He used a lot of visuals and music. That is communication too, right? When we look at those striking visuals, we understand, right? And it exposes our culture. We understand. A foreigner would watch that video and understand the Malaysian culture. Right? He emphasized food is a culture, right? The Malaysian culture in food, right? And there's all this music as well. And those people spoke in local accent. That is one reason why you find it easy to understand. Because we are all Malaysians, right? And we speak in a certain way. And immediately we will understand the message that is being conveyed. Not so easy. For instance, when I was in Ukraine and I'm talking to a Ukrainian in English, right? Then they're speaking English to me. Sometimes I can't make out what they're saying because their accent is so strong. It's very hard accent, yeah? And they themselves, when we speak to them, they will have difficulty understanding us. But half the battle is won if you speak good English. When you speak good, clear English, you speak slowly, as they say there, as you said there, then it is easier for people to understand you, right? I want to share with you an anecdote that happened in my life. And because, as I said, my kids went to international school, right? And they had teachers from the US, American teachers. And you know, these Americans, when they meet us Malaysians, they speak very slowly. Yeah? And they emphasize every word. But for us, we would get agitated because we speak good English, we understand English. So we got impatient with them. Why are they talking to us so slowly? Are they scared we do not understand what they are saying? Right? So we used to get quite frustrated and agitated, my husband and I, when the American teachers would speak to us. They assume that all Malaysians won't understand them because they are talking English with an American accent. Yeah? But of course, certainly there is one way, if you want to make someone understand you, is to speak slowly, right? And of course, after some time, when they have interacted with us, they knew. They knew that these people, we would not have difficulty understanding them. But that's why you need to pick up on your English, because when you speak good English, you are fluent, then you will not have that problem, right? And that makes for a successful communication. When you have all those elements, as I mentioned, yeah, it makes for successful communication. And you saw that in the video, right? We all got the message that was being conveyed. So what do you learn? Yeah, use simple sentences, speak slowly, speak clearly, right? Not in a rush, right? And of course, when you're writing, you use simple sentences. You don't have to use very big words, right? We speak slowly and we speak clearly, right? Okay, so I've come to the part about tips and summary. I'm sparing some time for us to have some questions maybe. Yeah. So what do? Basically, we need to read, we need to listen. Yeah. Many people are there and, you know, I'm talking here and I would think that you're listening, but many of us, we're switching off. We're thinking of something else. We're not actually listening. Actually, listening is a very difficult skill. Yeah. And of course, if you are good in the language, it's easier for you to listen, right? If you're not very good in the language, then you strain your ears to listen. But it's a good skill to have, right? Because that is a very important part of communication. When somebody tells you something and you listen, you will take away the message that that person is conveying, right? But if you are, you know, looking at your phone and somebody's talking, there's no way that you would have taken in and understood what that person is conveying to you, right? So we need to learn how to listen, right? Practice, of course, as I said earlier, we need to practice. We are not very confident when talking, yeah? We script it, we write it down, and then we practice how to say it, right? We use things like visuals that prompts us to remember our words, right? And whatever it is, most importantly, is we have to keep on trying, right? And not give up, right? So, but what we don't want to do is to put on a false accent, right? Yeah, what I like about the video is everyone was talking in their own accents. Doesn't matter, but it's clearly understood. So, we don't want to exaggerate. You know, the problem is a lot of us, we are watching K-drama or we are watching a lot of the American shows, and then we try to pick up the accent because we think, oh, that's good English, right? Americans tend to speak with an exaggerated R, right? So people like to speak, when they speak, they exaggerate the R's because they think that's the right way to speak, right? So we don't want to put a false accent because it gives a bad impression to the other side, right? All right, we don't want to use inappropriate words like, if someone is talking too loudly, right? We don't want to say to him, hey, don't talk so loudly, We can say it in a nice way, yeah? Maybe you can say something to the effect that, be more diplomatic. You say, could you lower your voice or soften your tone? It sounds nicer, isn't it? Rather than you say, hey, don't talk so loudly. That can cause some friction, some confrontation. I see someone nodding right in front of me here. And sometimes that causes friction and unhappiness. So when you speak good English, you can choose the words you want to use. Yeah, you don't use inappropriate words. Like a young man, there's so many young men here. They see a pretty girl, they go up to her and say, wow, nice to meet you. You look so sexy. Can you imagine if a young man comes up to me and says, you look so sexy? What is the thought in my mind? Right? Oh my God, this man is immediately, he doesn't know me, but he's already saying I'm sexy. We just got the wrong connotation. But he could easily have said, you look so pretty. Right? Immediately, the girl will feel comfortable. Right? You look elegant. That's a nice way of putting it, right? So you have to be careful in the choice of words, right? And don't use bombastic words. People use words like, today I was in the car coming here and we saw this word. And I was asking my husband, oh my God, what does that mean? Queen, essentially. It's such a big word. What are they trying to say? They're trying to say they are the top of the line. They are the best there is, They give the best service. They use queen, essentially, service. It's so confusing, isn't it? If you don't know English, what is that? They could have used simple words. Yeah? Even the word bombastic. Oh my God, the word bombastic. What does it mean? Actually, it's another way of saying big words, right? Or you look at someone and say, who is very sombong. In Malay, we call it snobbish. You use the word snobbish. But some people say, oh, she's so pompous. There's no necessity for you to use the word pompous. If you use the word snobbish, people will also understand you. So as I said earlier, we keep to simple words. We don't need to use big, bombastic words. Of course, if you are very comfortable, you are so sure of yourself and you know the meaning of the word. It's appropriate. The meaning of the word is appropriate. And of course, go ahead. Yeah. But, I recall now, there was one ministry, and they were putting up a notice on their website, right? And what they did was, they wrote the message in Malay, in Bahasa, right? And then, what happened was, they used Google Translate, all right? And one of the things on their dress code is, jangan pakai pakaian yang menjolokkan mata, okay? They're trying to say that, but if they use Google Translate, and what did they say? Don't use clothes that poke eyes. Understand? Don't use clothes that poke eyes. See? That is the danger of using Google Translate. So, when it's important for people to know what they're trying to say, the meaning of what they're trying to say. Right? That was a literal translation. Right? They could have said something like, what do you call it? I've forgotten the word. Do not use clothes, inappropriate clothes. Yeah? Which means, there's a nicer way of putting it than clothes that are, menjolokkan mata is poke your eye. Literally poke your eye, So, we have to be very careful when we write something or when we speak something, right? Okay, let me go on. So, what does better communication in English give you? Yeah, it gives you better opportunities, right? Because how does it give you better opportunities? you go for an interview. Many of you are going for interviews nowadays, right? And if there's 3 of you now, sometimes there are 10 people, right, going for the same job, right? If you are able to speak in English, right, and speak fluently, even if not fluently, but somewhat understandable English, and there's someone else who can't speak English at all, definitely you will get the job. It is commonplace now in Malaysia, and and I meet a lot of people in my line of work. And in fact, my husband and I are working with a company called Malewa, which focuses on English. Yeah, and employers are complaining all the time that their workers, their employees cannot speak a word of English, cannot convey something. Again, I recall yesterday, I had a phone call from a lady, and she spoke Malay to me, and she said she's from Maxis. Okay, and then she was mumbling something in Bahasa, and the line is bad actually, to be very frank. So I told her, okay, Puan, can you speak in English? I feel more comfortable in English. Guess what happened? She put down the phone. And I was shocked because I was trying to communicate with her. But why did she put down the phone? My guess is, I'm not 100% sure, but my guess is she's not comfortable speaking in English. But she has got a job to do, right? Especially if you are in the front line, right? You are meeting up with foreigners. For instance, people in Jabatan Immigration, for instance, right? People are going to the counter to talk to them, to ask questions, foreigners especially. And if they can't speak English, how do you communicate, right? So that is why it's so very important for communication in English for us, yeah, as a country that is small. Yeah, people say to me all the time, there are big countries, there are countries that are successful. Japan, for instance, not everybody speaks English. It is true. But look at Japan as an economic power. Look at its success. People go to Japan to want to look for work. People go to Japan for business. But do people naturally come to Malaysia for business? No, right? We have to keep on promoting ourselves. And, when I was doing my work as ambassador, often, when we try to get people to come and invest in Malaysia, one of the things we say is, our people speak good English. Remember Drew Binsky? He says people speak good English. But that was true before. Now the standard has dropped. Many people, actually, in the outer areas, in the villages, in our kampongs, who do not speak English at all. It doesn't matter if it's Malay or Chinese or Indian, but there are people who don't speak English at all. And how does that help our country? If we are trying to be international, we are trying to join the global community, right? So you need to have a bit of English so that you can communicate, no matter where you are, right? No matter if you go to a country that does not use English, how do you communicate with the people? If you only know Bahasa and that person only knows, let's say, Russian, right? So the common language there would be English, right? So that is why it's important, right? Of course, if you speak good English, if you speak English, you'll have more confidence. When you meet someone, naturally, and that person is talking to you in English, naturally you'll feel more confident communicating with the people. A lot of people I meet, sometimes they mumble. And I think they're mumbling because they don't have the confidence to voice out, to speak in English. When you speak to them in English, they're mumbling because, or they're swallowing their words because they're not sure what to say, And that happens often, actually. Yeah? Okay. The other thing, of course, as I put there, better self-esteem. What is self-esteem? The feeling about yourself. Feeling good about yourself. Knowing yourself and having the confidence. When you in Malaysia, if we meet foreigners and we meet people and we are able to talk, people look at us differently, right? They will think, then you immediately, because you are confident that you know English well, talking to an Englishman, for instance, or an English woman, immediately you feel proud of yourself. You have better self-esteem. That is very important. You know, image and self-esteem are a very important part of a person's life. If you look at yourself very poorly, you're always telling yourself, oh, I can't do it. I can't speak English. You go into a shell. You will not mix around. You will not socialize, right, with people, because you dare not open your mouth, right? But if you have a good, strong language, if other than Bahasa or Chinese or Indian, you speak good English, you will not hesitate to go in front of and meet foreigners and speak good English, right? So that is very important for us to realize, because otherwise, we will lose out. I keep emphasizing this to Malaysians, that, once any language is always an advantage, right? Like for us, we are lucky. Some of us have got 3 languages, some of us have got, at the minimum, we have 2 languages. We have Bahasa Melayu and English, for instance. Or we have Chinese and English, or we have Indian and English, right? For example. So when you have an added language, it's always good for you. You always feel much better about yourself, and you can advance better. You can advance faster, right? It's always more valuable when you have additional languages. Why are we being encouraged to learn foreign languages, right? Like in my ministry, we have people who speak French, people who speak Spanish, people who speak Russian, who speak Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, And I don't mind sharing with you, China, for instance, for their diplomats, they have people talking 160 languages of the world. I met one Chinese diplomat, and he was assigned to one African state. And he told me, oh, I was trained to speak Swahili. Can you imagine that? It's not even a main language. Okay, the UN, the United Nations, there are 5 languages in the United Nations, right? And that is English, French, Russian, Arabic, and Chinese, right? And here you have people from China, their diplomats are trained to speak a totally different language that is not even a UN language. That makes them perform better in their work. So it's always good, and in our case, at the very least, right, at the very least, we must speak good English, right, to communicate and to represent our country, How can other people understand our culture if we are not able to convey to them, right, about our culture? Okay? Right. Okay, now I'm opening up for questions. I hope I welcome any questions you have. I hope I've been able to convey to you the importance of communicating in English, the value of being able to speak English, even if it's basic English. But of course, you want to speak well. You want to speak good English for all those reasons I mentioned. Okay? Can I invite any questions? As usual, we are Malaysians, right? We are shy. Please don't be shy. This is your opportunity to actually communicate and speak to me. Doesn't matter. No hangouts. And we will not judge you because you don't speak perfect English, right? Please, I welcome any questions. Can I have a show of hands? Because I'm not getting any questions. Can I have a show of hands? This is for myself, right? My own assessment. Did I manage to convey what I intended, I set out to do? Did you understand, at the very least, what I was trying to say? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, good. I'm also willing to take answers in Bahasa, questions in Bahasa. Okay, of course, predominantly I'm speaking English because this is a session on the value of English. But if you have any questions in Bahasa, you're welcome to ask. I can't speak Chinese nor Indian, but Bahasa, I welcome questions as well. No? Okay, so again, thank you very much. Oh, there is a question. Is that? No.
Hi. Do you have tips how to build up your self-esteem?
Sorry, dear. I can't hear you. Can you stand up and speak louder?
Hi. Do you have tips to build up the self-esteem you were talking about just now?
Build up your self-esteem. Actually, I conduct another course, a module, I call it personality grooming. That is more all-encompassing. And when I talk about personality grooming, people think it's about, I hope I'm answering your question. It's not just how you look. It's not just how you look. When you groom your personality, it's everything. And how do you build up your confidence and self-esteem? By looking good, by being knowledgeable, by having good interpersonal skills. Yeah? And what is interpersonal skills? Communication, right? I give you an example. If you are working in an office, yeah, and you go in to the office, you don't look at anybody, you straight away go and sit at your desk, you switch on your computer, you work. Yeah? And at other times, and there you have, that is you, right? Then you have Miss A, yeah, who comes in and greets everybody. First thing she does is, Assalamualaikum, good morning, how is everybody today? Tell me, what's the effect? Maybe you want to answer that since you had that question for me. What is the effect if I come into the office and straight away I smile and I say Assalamualaikum? What's the effect on my colleagues around me?
Hello, sorry.
Yes.
It will open up a conversation to communicate, I think.
No, I was trying to say, you have a person, you were asking me how to build your self-esteem, right? We want to, all of us actually, human beings, we want to be popular, right? We want people to like us, correct? How do you make people like you? By communicating, by having good interpersonal skills, right? Now, if you go to the office, you are, antisocial lah. You don't want to greet people, you don't even want to say hello to anybody. You just want to do your work. 8 to 5, you balik, you go home, right? Here you have a person who makes time for people. She comes in, she smiles, she is, communicating, she's saying hello, she's asking about people. People will like her, isn't it? That's how you build your self-esteem. Build good interpersonal skills. Make time for people, I had a real experience, where, you can sit down, it's okay, thank you. Where I had a staff, a receptionist who worked with me in Jakarta, and she fell ill, okay? And she had cancer. So sorry to tell you this, but she had cancer. And she didn't know, she didn't have enough money to go for treatment, okay? And I was working in Jakarta, and I said to her, let me make a case and try to get, because she works for the Malaysian government, right? For the Malaysian government, for Malaysia. I said, let me make a case for you, write to the ministry and ask if they can pay for your hospital bill, because the treatment is so expensive. But she had worked for Malaysia, for our embassy, for 10 years. So I wrote back, and we got the approval. And our government paid for her hospital bill. Can you imagine how she felt? She was ever so grateful to me because she came up to me and said, Ibu, if you did not do this to me, and she survived her cancer, honestly. She survived. Yeah? And she said, Ibu, I'm very thankful to you because of your work. You know, you wrote this letter and I got the money to do my treatment. And now I'm fine. You know, and that is important. That's interpersonal skill. When you interact with people, and it made me feel good. My self-esteem went up. And honestly, when you do good to others, your self-esteem goes up. You know, a simple thing that I would do, and I think a lot of people do, yeah? In an office, you know people's birthdays. Every month, you celebrate somebody's birthday. How do you feel when somebody celebrates your birthday? You feel good, right? And the person feels good because you celebrate the birthday. And, you know, everybody's acknowledging this person. But you yourself feel good because you made someone feel good. And I tell you, I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
I'm Sarah. Okay, I'm Sarah. I tell you, if you do something good to this person, automatically your self-esteem will improve. So I term this as interpersonal skills, interpersonal relations, yeah? Taking care of others. If you go to an office, you don't interact with people, you don't socialize, you will feel isolated, you won't be happy with yourself actually. You know, you don't have any friends. We are all human beings, we need friends and people around us. We need to feel good. You know, we need to feel wanted. We want to, you know, even if you don't, let's say you are, you know, always not mixing around, even with your family members, you're not close to family members. You know, and we are not from that culture. We are Asians. Asians are normally close to other family members. Can you imagine if you don't care to talk to your sister or your brother, right? Believe me, your self-esteem will go. You need to have support. Yeah, you need to communicate. You need to interact. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, Sarah. Good. Thank you. Any more questions before I wrap up? Okay. Thank you very much, some of you, for staying behind and listening to me. I hope there were some takeaways for you. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best in whatever you're here for, your job search, and every success to you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.